Hello and welcome back to the Verse. This is Citizen Sadao, and this is day 4 of Intergalactic Aerospace Expo IAE 2951. This is my favorite day of the expo, and I am so excited to talk about these ships. I love alien ships. The design, I think, Cloud Imperium has done an incredible job of not only designing the ships, but also designing the companies, the background, the history, just everything that goes into the ships, the races, the backgrounds of these alien races, and kind of what led them to design ships in this way. So the only bad thing is that there aren't a lot to choose from. They're still in the early stages of building these out. They really wanted to focus on the human ships, of course, and then eventually kind of build out the aliens slowly. So for the longest time, we had a lot of talk about alien ships, but not a lot of, actual alien ships. Then slowly they were released, one after another. The Talon series for the Talarans. To the Varans, the Tavarans. And then you had the Bennu, the Aopa, xi'an, and then the Vanduul, of course, which was there from the beginning. But the Vanduul are still going through their metamorphosis, so to speak, old designs and new designs, and we're learning more about the Vanduul kind of as the game progresses, and specifically as Squadron 42 progresses, as they are the main villains in that series. So before we get into it, I'd like to invite you all to like and subscribe if you like these videos. These are going to be coming out more. I definitely want to do some deep dives, especially on the Bennu. The Bennu are probably my favorite alien race to date, besides the Vanduul. I cannot wait to do more research on the Vanduul, but the Bennu, their culture, and their ships specifically, especially the Merchantman, which I will get into in a little bit. I'll be doing more deep dives on that. But first, to start, let's start on Aopa, or the xi'an, and then we'll actually jump to Gatek because it's still a xi'an manufacturer. So, the Aopa, or Aopa, I believe it's actually pronounced Aopoa, but, Aopa, you can correct me in the comments if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but for those prospective aces out there, craving the unique edge of xi'an tech and design, Aopa fighters fit the bill perfectly, meticulously converted to accommodate human pilots. The Xeno manufacturer offering some have quickly become popular mainstays in IAE aerospace. So the first one, which is flight ready, is the Khartu-al. This very neat starship. It has a really cool animation. The xi'an seem to be a creature or a intelligent life that likes to see their technology fold and really transform in many different ways. And they like speed and toughness. They're not really known for their shields. They're really known for their engine capacity. So they're very mobile. They're very agile. They're very fast. And this is their scout ship, the Khartu-al. The only bad thing about this thing is that it's rather large for a scout ship in every direction, so it's kind of easy to hit, but it's very maneuverable, both in space and decently maneuverable in atmosphere. It's got a really neat shape, got a really neat cockpit, and all the animations, things float, so it kind of makes up for that. It's probably not $170 value, but you have the alien tax. And you do have 2 size 4 guns on it as well. So, it is a neat ship to pick up. Probably a buy in-game, but, it's super fun to fly. So definitely go and rent this ship because it is a lot of fun to fly. You then have the Nox, which is their hover bike. Hover bikes are kind of broken at the current iteration of the game, but they will be getting an update soon. As with all ground vehicles, this is a buy-in game for me. I would suggest buying game. They're just save your money on an actual starship, and not on these ground vehicles. The only thing I would say to get these ground vehicles is if you wanted LTI, but this one, it doesn't come with LTI, so it'll only be 10 years insurance. So the Nox, and then of course you have the in-concept ship, which is the Santok Yai. So this ship is going to be the same kind of star look as the Cartual. It's going to be a medium fighter, so it's going to have a little bit more firepower. I would imagine less maneuverable, single seater, but this is going to be a fun ship. I think there's actually 3 guns. There's 1 on the bottom and then 2 on the top. Probably going to be size 4, I would imagine. I don't think they put size 5 guns on this, but these guns are looking kind of big, so they might actually put size 5 guns on this. However, it's probably going to be 3 size 4, which is still nothing to shake your head at. This is going to be a very good ship. I would imagine a very maneuverable ship with some pretty good firepower when this is finally released. Now, unfortunately, this is probably not coming out for the next 2 to 3 years, as this was put on the tracker, the progress tracker, for like a month and then taken off as they needed more time. So who knows when this is coming in. I don't think that there will be any sort of interior on this ship, but I could be wrong. I think it's just going to be like the Cartual. It's just going to be the cockpit. However, they do have room for some inside, at least maybe a bed. So maybe we'll get that, but I'm not sure. Maybe that's why it was taken off to maybe add a bed. But we'll see. We'll see how this ship turns out. We're then going to switch over to Gatek. So Gatek is another xi'an. So this one's actually brand new. It's a new company. So as the new kid on the human block, Gatek manufacturers bring cutting-edge xi'an cargo vessels to the UEE. See for yourself why haulers across the empire are making the jump to the xi'an ship. So this is definitely an alien ship. I love the design on this. Xi'an, I think, is really going to surprise us with many different shapes and transformations as not only their companies, but as their species in general gets kind of flushed out. This thing is such a cool ship, and at 225, I think this is a steal. If cargo running is your thing, this is also going to be the first multi-crew xi'an ship. And actually, this is the xi'an ship and first transport. I think this will be the first coming to the game. I do not think the Bennu will make it into the game. The Bennu Merchantman will make it into the game before this. So I think this will be the first alien transport ship or cargo ship in the game. It has 4 massive thrusters that also VTOL when it's in landing mode, so it can actually VTOL. So it has 4 VTOL thrusters, 4 main thrusters. It has 2 size 4 turrets with dual size 4 weapons that cover what looks like the entire kind of circle of the sides of the ship. It seems to be there's probably some blind spots on the immediate top, the immediate back, and the immediate bottom. But other than that, I think these turrets kind of cover the rest of the ship. And then it also has, I think, size 4 missile racks, if I'm not mistaken, with some really good missiles. So this is going to be a really cool ship. I mean, you have your cockpit up here. It has all this gravlev technology. I'll definitely do a separate video on this. I mean, this is going to be a really cool ship. Don't let the triangle cargo containers on the back fool you. They're going to fit regular cargo containers. It's not clear yet whether they're going to make any actual in-game changes to this or affect your playstyle. I think it's just going to be the look of this ship, and maybe in xi'an space maybe it'll change, but I don't think, this is a good ship to buy. I cannot wait for this to come out. I will not be buying this, just in full disclosure, but I really want to. I'll probably buy this in game. I kind of spent, I'm really kind of saving my ship for the Bennu Merchantman, which I do have one on. So with that, I think we'll go to Aspiria next, and then we'll end with the Bennu, because Bennu is my favorite. So Aspiria is replicas. So they recreate Tavaran ships, as well as some of the Van Duel ships that they've captured over the years. So, first, we're actually going to go with price low to high on this one as well. So the first is the cheapest. Aspiria has such a high tax. So the Talon, which is the fighter pilot version of this, $115. Really good weapons, 2 size 4s. It's super maneuverable. The Tavarans have a very neat avian design to their ships. They're really cool. I love these ships. They have like a screen. It's like super armored. Their cockpit. They have like this screen that shows up really neat ships, highly maneuverable, and yeah, good all around. Their shields are also fantastic. Tavarans are known for their shields. So of course you have the Talon Strike, which is the missile variant, $115 for that as well. And then you jump quite substantially to $275 for the Blade. So this is kind of the scout ship. They say light fighter, but it's really a scout ship for the Vanduul, recreated with captured Vanduul technology. This is actually going to go through an update though. They have, and I'll come out on a separate video of the Vanduul. They're coming out with a different design of this. It's unclear of whether they're going to nix this altogether, or if they're going to say this was part of an older design and it's not, or if this was Aspiria's interpretation of what they had to do to make it, flyable for humans. It's unclear of how they're going to do that, because then you have this ship, which is kind of the first iteration of the Glaive, the first iteration of what the Vanduul design was going to be. The Blade was like the second, and then now they have a third, so I'm not sure how they're going to lore craft this. I have a feeling they're just going to kind of strip these and erase these from memory and replace them with the new designs, but we'll have to wait and see for that. I don't like this design or this look. It fits for what they were going for. Like the Vanduul were kind of scrappers. They just put any technology together, but it just looked messy. So I'm very happy with the new designs, and the new designs are fantastic. I'll come up with a separate video on that. But this is the Glaive, 2 massive size 5 cannons on this, and that just do a ton of damage. And then they have, I believe, 4 size 1s as well, or 2 size 1s, something like that. Just deals massive damage. Can one-shot ships. It used to be much better. I think they nerfed it a little bit. But yeah, a great ship. And then you have the you jump into the Prowler. So this is the last ship actually. So you actually can't buy the Scythe this year. It's just the Glaive and the Blade. But the Scythe is basically the Glaive, but minus one of these wings. It still has, I think, a size 3 cannon on it, but it only has a one size 5. $350. It's a lot. I wouldn't suggest buying this ship. Simply because you're paying a lot of money for what you get. It's just a fighter. Prowler, one of the coolest looking ships in game, one of the most overpriced ships in game, and one of the least utility ships in game. It used to be much better at combat, which made it kind of worth the price, because it has, I think, 2 size 3s, 2 size 4 guns on this, and it used to be highly maneuverable in space. And in atmosphere, and pretty quick as well. So this thing could turn around and fire and really defend itself well. But then they nerfed it because this wasn't meant to be a fighter ship. This was meant to be a drop ship. So now it just took away its fighting capabilities for a drop ship, and drop shipping really isn't in the game yet. Unless you have a large crew, this ship isn't going to actually give you any utility, as there's no big battles on the ground yet, unless you're in an org that's kind of raiding, but even raids aren't in the game yet. So it will be, as the game evolves, this will be a great ship to have. It's one of the best drop ships in the game, especially when it comes to space. I think this will be the only drop ship in game that will have true space utility. These kind of glowing circle discs on the bottom are supposed to be maglev spears. So the thought of this, or what it's supposed to do, is that eventually this will be almost like turn into a hover bike. It's unclear whether it's just going to react to metal. I would imagine it's going to turn into just hovering off of the ground. So what this thing is going to be able to do, it's going to be able to flip on these and hover, or attach itself to a ship like a Javelin, or any other massive ship. Or just hover on the ground, a couple feet above the ground, and just kind of skim the bottom of the terrain, so that it can fly under radar and not be detected, and fly underneath the shields as well, I'm imagining, of a lot of these ships. And then the drop ship portion, which has these side ribs, the soldiers can jump out and attack either the base undetected and kind of surprise attack, or can jump onto the surface of a ship. And then maybe if they have, some laser technologies, they can cut into the ship itself, and do some damage that way. So it's going to have some utility in the future. It's just there's no utility yet. It is a two-person crew. You have the pilot and the co-pilot, but it's just a lot for what you get, especially because they took away that maneuverability. But it's still a really cool ship. So last but certainly not least, we're going to be talking about the Bennu, which is my favorite alien race. They actually have a language for this that I'm in the process of learning. So the Bennu have a widely different philosophy from humans when it comes to shipcraft, that is for sure. Get in the cockpit to experience true alien spaceflight for yourself. So, the first vehicle that we actually got from this was the Bennu Merchantman, but the first flyable ship we got from the Bennu was the Defender. So the Defender and the Merchantman have a symbiotic relationship. So the Bennu Defender was made by the Bennu to escort the Bennu Merchantman across the galaxy in terms of trade. So this ship is meant to transport the Bennu Merchantman, and that's really its sole purpose. The Bennu kind of organize themselves in these things called Soli, and I'll get into all that on different videos, but they kind of focus on one thing. So the Soli that made this only focused on making this to escort the Bennu Merchantman, which means it's kind of out of its element. It's kind of missing its significant other. But this was the first glimpse we had into the design style of the Bennu. It's crab looking, it has a really neat design, very alien design, and the neat thing about this, it's actually a two-seater. So it's these eyes right here, these cockpits, these blue tinted glass cockpits, each house a seat. The ship can be controlled by each. However, the co-pilot can't control the gun. So if there are two people sitting in there, it doesn't, it actually doesn't affect, they just have nothing to do except maybe control the systems eventually when the systems come in line. Because at this point in time, you can't access any of the systems. It looks like they're going to have internal systems where you don't have to go outside the ship on anything, but it's not activated yet, which makes me think they're going to add alien components to this, not regular human components, which makes sense. So they're kind of blocked off right now. The really neat thing about this thing too is that the wings, when in flight mode, they kind of fold forward, and it becomes a very sleek, very fast design. It also has four size 2, I think 4 size 2 tachyon cannons, which is broken. So they actually took those out in one of the recent patches, and you just have like, it's like phaser weapons, not tachyon. So the guns that are supposed to be on this thing are supposed to be hit scan or light speed weapons that basically hit the target instantly, so you don't have to kind of aim ahead or behind, you just have to aim directly at it, and it'll, once you click the fire button, it'll hit the target, which is a super neat design. This is something that I'm sure the Bennu are going to be known for, these type of weapons. However, one, they're not that strong, and two, they were having issues in the game where even if you hit the target, it wasn't registering a hit because the computer couldn't keep up with the hit scan technology, because it was just so different than any other weapon in the game. So I definitely see them fixing that. This thing used to be very maneuverable, now it's less maneuverable, but it's very fast and it has a very long distance. And the reason it has a very long distance is because it escorts this thing. Now this thing is still in concept. Oh, I forgot to say the price. The Bennu Merchantman, or the Bennu Defender, $220. Bennu Merchantman, the surprise of the century, after the reveal of all the differences and all the changes they made, only increased by $50. I cannot believe that. So this is a steal at this price, in my opinion. However, you only get 10 years insurance. So if you're you'll only need 10 years, I get this, because this is going to go up in value. At least to $750, I would imagine. So at least a $200 more. But I can see this being worth more than the $890 jump, because the $890 jump, I mean, that's the origin tax, but it's still a human ship. This is going to be basically an $890 jump, a hull C or like a hull D, combined in alien, format, and the inside of this thing is just going to be gold. It's very opulent. The Bennu are known for their art form and their creativity coming through in their buildings and design choices, as they don't have any formal like art pieces. So this is going to be like a flying Mona Lisa. Like this thing is going to be like a flying masterpiece that's handed down over generations. Super massive guns, great protection, and I hope they actually come out with this being the mothership of the Bennu. But we'll have to wait and see. I'll give a separate video on that. But this is this has been day 4 of the Alien Day. So this is Aopa, Bennu, Aspiria, and Gatek. Definitely check it out. Rent some ships, the ones that are flyable. I cannot wait for future years to come when these 4, well, basically the 4 or 5 races that are in the game get expanded much further, and new ships come out, new technologies. It's going to be incredible. I cannot wait. So thank you for tuning in. This is Citizen Sadao, and I will see you in the verse.